Good morning. Proverbs 15. Looking at two verses this morning, verse 16 and 17. And you got to know this. Studies were done recently and brought together. Saw a lecture by a Notre Dame sociologist named Christian Smith called Something Shifted. And in it, he shows a number of stats and graphs and so forth. And he's talking about sort of the zeitgeist, the cultural air of young people today. And in it, he showed a graph, and the graph had, I think, 5 or 6, I think there were 5 different features on it of from the 70s originally, of what people, young people, looked and saw as the primary motivation for them as they stepped out in education and pursuing their career. The number one in 1971 was having a flourishing and good life. The bottom one in 1971 was the amount of money that you make. Fast forward to, this was done just a couple of years ago, I think it was 2017 or 18, that had completely switched. The number one now was, how much money are you going to make? The bottom one of the available answers was having a good life, a sense of well-being and flourishing. That tells us something. And it ought to tell us something also about how we fostered that, or get us thinking about how we fostered that if we're in Generation X like myself, or older in a boomer generation. How we have maybe set the table for young people to think that how much money they make is really what matters and defines them. Here are some verses that upend that and reframe well-being as the centerpiece, not how much money you make. Proverbs 15. Verse 16, better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble with it. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a fattened ox and hatred with it. So in other words, these are just metaphors, pictures, analogies to depict for us a life of abundance and fruitfulness that on the outside looks externally pleasing and looks like you're part of the haves. And the point is being made by this piece of wisdom literature that if you have your character rooted in the fear of the Lord, that is, you have a Godward orientation with your life, but you don't have a lot of money, then that kind of life is far more fulfilling and far more ultimate in its yield, if you will, and far more fruitful and far more life-giving than a life where you have all the stuff, but you haven't cultivated the fear of the Lord. So it's an issue of focus. It's not anti-money, but it's an issue of what is the primary focus? The cultivation of character, cultivation of godly life, cultivation of well-being, or is it something else? Is it making a bunch of money? Because in that way, you'll be able to recreate yourself to death. You'll be able to enjoy life. You'll be able to live the dream. Living the dream is living in the fear of the Lord. Think about that today. Pray it through. May the Lord bless you.